If you were born around 1960, give or take a few years, today's episode is especially for you because there's something unique about our generation. We're not quite classic boomers, not quite Gen X. We're kind of that in-between group, the ones who grew up in the 60s and 70s and came of age in the 80s. And whether you're 55 to 70 or somewhere close, there are some things we almost all have in common. I hope I can help rekindle some fond memories for you. And please be kind in the comments. I know I'm going to miss a lot of things that other people think of, but let's talk about it. You know, we grew up before everything was digital. We remember when phones had cords, TVs had 3 channels, and if you missed a favorite show, you just missed it. You had kids shows like Sesame Street, Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood, Captain Kangaroo. You had sitcoms like The Andy Griffith Show, The Beverly Hillbillies, Bewitched, Gomer Pyle, Green Acres, I Dream of Jeannie. I remember westerns like Bonanza, Gunsmoke, The Big Valley, and Rawhide. You had drama and action like The Fugitive, Perry Mason, Mission Impossible. Shows like The Twilight Zone, Gilligan's Island, Star Trek, Batman, The Munsters, The Addams Family. I remember staying up late with my parents watching the Red Skelton Show, Rowan and Martin's Laugh-In, and Saturday mornings, The Monkees. VCRs came along much later for most of us. There was no streaming, no rewinding live TV, no Google. We grew up figuring things out without the internet. If we wanted to know something, we went to the library. Some of us were lucky enough to have a Webster's dictionary, and some had a whole set of encyclopedias. If we wanted to talk to someone, we'd dial our rotary phone or we'd go knock on their door. That shaped us. You know, we're adaptable because we had to be. We saw the world go from rotary phones to smartphones in one lifetime. There were no microwave ovens in everyone's home. The first popular countertop home model was introduced by Amana in 1967. They weren't common in homes until the late 70s as prices dropped. We watched music move from vinyl to 8-track to cassette to CDs to streaming. And we remember when MTV and CMT actually played music. Those songs still hit differently because they were tied to our first cars, our first loves, first apartments. Music wasn't background noise. It was part of our identity. We were the figure it out generation. Most of us were raised with be home before dark. We had freedom. Sometimes maybe too much of it. We rode bikes without helmets. We learned by trial and error. We had our share of scratches, stitches, and broken bones. And we learned resilience early. We didn't grow up with participation trophies. We learned about winning and losing. We learned the value and the pride of earning something. We were disciplined much differently than today's children. In my home, time out was not a thing. If you messed up, you dealt with it. That gave us a certain toughness, but also independence. There are some things you might remember. Going to McDonald's was a treat for families. It was more of a special outing than a daily convenience. Back in our day, the boys had G.I. Joes and Hot Wheels, and the girls had Barbie dolls and Easy Bake Ovens. We had yo-yos, Etch-a-Sketches, pogo sticks, cap guns. We had slinkies, hula hoops, Legos and spiralgraphs, Play-Doh, silly putty, slip and slides, rock'em sock'em robots, Matchbox cars, Lincoln logs, and Tinker Toys construction sets, train sets, and BB guns. We often played outside unsupervised, drank from garden hoses, rode our bikes all over town. It's a wonder we survived. We entered adulthood in a changing world. If you were born around 62, you graduated high school around 1980. Right when the economy was shifting, technology was emerging, corporate culture was changing. We started our careers before email existed. Some of us retired from jobs that didn't even exist when we were kids. If we worked as cashiers, we knew how to count change back to someone without the help of a computerized cash register. We've reinvented ourselves more than once. That's something we all share, adaptability. Now here we are in our 50s to 70s, some retired, some thinking about it, some still working but looking at the horizon. We're grandparents. Some are thinking about downsizing their homes, some traveling more, or maybe just figuring out what's next. And here's what I think we really have in common. We're starting to value time more than stuff, health more than fortune. We've worked hard, we've raised families, we've paid mortgages, and now we're asking, what do I want this next chapter to look like? We bridge two worlds. This might be the most unique thing about us. We understand analog childhood, digital adulthood. We can balance a checkbook, stream a movie, fix a leaky faucet, set up a Wi-Fi network. We're a pretty diverse bunch. We're not intimidated by change because we've lived through so much of it. From black and white TVs to artificial intelligence, from handwritten letters to voice texting grandkids. That perspective, that's powerful. We care about our legacy now. When you're 25, you think about building. When you're 45, you think about achieving. And when you're 62, you start thinking about meaning. What will people remember? Did I show up? Did I love well? Did I make a difference? That's something many of us share at this stage. If you were born around 1960, you've lived through cultural revolutions, technological explosions, economic ups and downs, and a whole lot of change. And you're still here, still learning, still growing, still dreaming. And maybe that's the biggest thing we have in common. We're not done yet. Well, that's our coffee talk for this morning. If this sounds like you or you can relate to some of this, drop a comment below. Tell me what year you were born, what memories you have. What's one thing you think our generation shares? And if you enjoy these morning coffee talks about retirement, life, and this stage we're in, hit that button and subscribe. Until next time, refill that coffee, enjoy the journey, and remember, this chapter might just be the best one yet. Thank you so much for joining us, and we'll see you down the road.